name for the spin approach is the, is it interrogatory? What's interrogatory? Interrogatory means not just asking questions, it's answering. It's asking and answering. That's the interrogatory. Is the spin approach also the FAB approach? No. Is it the needs satisfaction? Where'd that come from? It came from chapter 8. I didn't teach you that. I taught you SNP. And I didn't teach you stimulus response. Well, actually, stimulus response is in chapter 2. That is also not the answer. What's the answer? Multiple question. The spin process is the essence. It is the finest approach that we've ever discovered for how it is that you can ask a number of questions and turn someone from to really. No, not yawning. Really. So we're going to talk today, the rest of our session.
Can I tell you what it stands for?
I haven't asked that question. We've talked about the new model selling from day one. So the first step in the process is building trust. And how do you build trust in a presentation?
Build rapport.
Build rapport. How would you do it?
Look for stuff in the store that you might be able to talk to them about. Or
Look for something in the home.
Okay, yeah, so I was going to, more or less in a classroom, you can relate, because everybody knows everybody's basically in the environment.
You have to connect in some way. And after you connect, either on the telephone or face-to-face, and the degree to which they believe you're genuine, believable, trustworthy, how do you do this? You make sure you have a firm handshake, you look them directly in the eye, you're well-groomed so nothing distracts them. And then you have a conversation on something that helps establish an environment of trust. How long does that take? B2C, it might take you a while. B2B, it's short. And the higher the D, the lower the cycle. I'm not detracting from the issue about how important, and building 40%, spending 40% of your time building trust. You have to do it here, then here, then here, then here. You're always building trust. But you have to get from that stage into the stage of identifying needs. So the process for how you do it is called spin. Spin was invented by Neil Rackham. No, not a pool player. Neil Rackham is a Brit. I know it. He's about 70 years old. He wrote this 30 years ago, and he's a researcher. He's not a salesman. So this is one of the few books that's built upon someone watching salespeople. So Rackham followed salespeople around. He would record exactly what they did. This person asked this question, he got this response. This person asked this question, she got this response. So he began taking detailed notes, and then he looked to see which ones got to a sale the fastest. Then he reinforced it. He added thousands of interactions up, and he wrote the book 25 or 30 years ago called Spin Selling. It used to be the textbook in 425. It's so important I use it as the textbook. So I'm going to give you an explanation of spin, and you're going to need to use this in your presentations. Second, when you use this, you can persuade people. But you have to be very subtle in how you ask these questions. Let's start with situation questions. Situation questions are those entry questions that begin to create the environment in which you can talk about addressing needs. Now, if, for instance, you are the representative for OtterBox, and you're going into the buyer's office at Camping World, and you want to sell the buyer at Camping World on offering the OtterBox, which is your whole company, into their catalog and all the people that buy camping supplies all over the United States. That's your buyer. So you're going to go in and have an initial conversation. You've never met the person. What kinds of, after you have decided that there's a picture, he has a fish on the wall, and you say, "Are you a fisherman?" He says, "Yes, that's my prize bass." You have a little conversation because you used to fish when you were a kid and blah, blah, blah. So you've got a little bit of built trust. So then you're going to ask some question to begin to talk about the fact that you want him to buy OtterBoxes. What do you ask?
How did you get into the Camping Worlds? How did you get into that company?
Okay, how did you become a buyer at Camping World? Okay, that's an introductory question. That's a decent one.
Could you ask him something about where do you put your phone when you're out on the boat fishing? Because you could drop it in the water.
You could, but not yet. See, situation questions just help you understand what their situation is.
I would ask them how much demand they have for mobile devices or any kind of mobile.
You could, see what we're trying to do here. Remember our funnel? You're asking wide questions up here before you can get them down through the funnel. Other questions?
What is this from? I don't have a smartphone. What are we selling?
Oh, sorry. An OtterBox takes, you put your iPhone in the OtterBox, so if you drop it, it won't break. And then you can put it in this little device, and you can put it on your belt. Right there, so you don't lose it.
It won't break at all? No.
Won't break.
It's like guaranteed.
Almost guaranteed, yeah.
It'll break. You can run a clip.
And they've dropped this from I don't know how many feet, so it really works. Great, thank you.
How do you currently protect your phone? Or do you protect your phone?
You're too far in advance. What happens when you get into a conversation about a phone?
Do they carry any other types of phone holders or anything like that? Do they already sell what you're offering?
You're too far forward. Okay,
Well, okay, so I have a quick question now. We're talking about an OtterBox. So, can we start off just by saying how many times a day do you drop your phone without a box on it or without protection? Or do you have any, are they selling phones? Like, who am I talking to?
now first of all, I'm leading you down this path.
I like when you start over.
Yeah.
This is the most difficult thing for you to do. It's like, how do I ask these questions?
Yeah, but who do you
So-
start?
Do you take your phone with
What do you do first? What do you do first before you go into a setting? You research everything about him and you look in their catalog. And see, you do all your research questions, so the situation question you come up with is relevant and you can get you right into the conversation.
Who is the prospect?
Yeah,
This
that's
is the lead buyer who has to say yes for your product to get into the Camping World catalog.
No, I know that the prospect in particular that we're trying to sell the OtterBox to, he is the president of.
No, he's the buyer. He's just, a buyer is a person who's charged with buying the products, with approving the products that go into a catalog.
Okay, so he buys for them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Are you saying that he knows, does he know what you're selling already?
Mhm.
Or could you say, do you sell cell phone accessories?
If you've done your research, the problem that people make when they ask situation questions, do you know? What's the problem with asking situation questions?
Never mind, because.
You could get a no.
That's okay.
They can close ended.
They can tell you that they already have products
Nope.
that are in your.
Ms. Sharp?
Well, I mean, they won't tell you now because you already know the answer.
No?
They
might answer in a direction that you don't want them to answer.
Could, but that's not the big one.
Situations, it just depends on who you're talking to and what the situations that they're in and at that time.
So if you ask them, how long have you been here? How long has Camping World been in existence? How long has your catalog been in existence? What are the leading products sold in your catalog? What happens?
They require an answer.
What's the problem with the buyer?
They're giving you more information about them.
That depends on what time of year it is, or it depends on...
No, this is just too basic. The problem with situation questions is people get, what?
He's bored.
He gets bored. So you have to be very careful in how you ask your initial situation questions. If you've done your research and you found out that they do sell iPhones, they don't, but they sell iPhones, and you've gone through their catalog and there's nothing like the OtterBox in it. So you've got a unique product that protects the iPhone and makes it harder to be lost. So now that you know all that, you can ask a specific situation question.
So I'm kind of confused on what was wrong with my question. I asked what the demand for mobile devices were. He said that they're buying iPhones would not be a good situational question.
What is your demand for mobile devices?
I guess maybe I worded it wrong. How many devices do you sell? See where I'm getting at though?
So you might say, you might start the conversation by a broad question that talks about the demand for their mobile devices.
Right, that's what I was
I agree.
Camping World,
And then from,
Camping World sells iPhones.
No, I just made it up. I just made it up.
And you went straight from the question, oh, so you fish, straight into what's your mobile device?
You are tracking exactly where I want to go, and that is, it's a subtle approach. So you might have to say, an early situation question might be that one, but maybe a preliminary might be.
Like, do you take your cell phone when you go fishing?
Of course, perfect, a perfect question. Do you take your cell phone with you when you go fishing? Miss Gambro. That is a perfect question. Why? Because it needs to be subtle. So when you get in that room and you begin asking questions, I want your questions to be subtle. You have to practice these up front. So that it's easy for the person to say, yeah, no, I just don't. Why? Well, I'm clumsy and I'm afraid it'll drop in. Now you've got a little nugget. You just put that in your pocket. Oh, I got that one. Man, am I going to bring that out of my pocket at the right time?
Can't you sometimes get like annoyed and like say you have an ID, that would be like, no, I don't want it. I don't, you know, you keep trying to maybe push it. Well, you know, they say that they're clumsy, and then you keep trying to push it on, push it on. Can't that turn somebody away also?
Yep. So, is it important to assess the behavior style as you create your questions? Absolutely. It's a master skill that you're learning. Most salespeople don't do it. They just go in and they just give a presentation the way they've done it 1,000 times. But the way you'll do it is if you're dealing with a D on situation questions, how many can you ask? One. Then you're going to say, I know how busy you are, let me get right to the point. Boom. Now if it's an I, do they want to talk a little bit before you do your presentation? Yes, they want to get to know you. They want to know that you're a great person and you look them in the eye and they want to make sure that you like them. S, when you introduce a new product to an S, but S is what?
Very detailed.
That's a C. Organization, but slow to change. If I say, this is going to make a big change to your catalog, S goes, oops, I don't like those big changes. So you have to pose it as something that's a no-brainer. I want to talk to you about an issue that I think is relevant in your industry that might help you. You're gonna massage it to get them to consider an idea. How about C's? I want to show you a foolproof solution. No risk. That is operating in lots of other catalogs that I think you should have in your catalog. Okay. Yes, you have to be ultra sensitive to the style. So you ask a situation question, and a good situation question actually would be, what is the demand at Camping World for mobile phones? And he says the demand has been pretty robust. Now, when you get an answer like that, what should your response be?
Would you like to change that?
Be careful.
What do you mean by robust?
See, this is the one. You don't even have to say that. You can say, really? Come on, give me more. Really? I'll be darned. That's it. And they will. They'll follow right up. They'll follow your lead. Yeah, it's been robust. We were at 1,000 units this month. The last month today, we're at 1,500 units, and demand is really increasing. So you might say, what you have to do in every question is you want to stay in the funnel, and you want to try to do this to get them closer down the funnel. So he or she who asks the question retains control. So now you're going to ask, what? Why is this so hard?
Was this after?
Because you don't do it. It's just a totally foreign activity that you've ever done. By most people aren't good at it. So what were you going to say, Mr. Roberts?
I was gonna ask, is this after?
Mr. Roberts has a comment.
I didn't say anything.
You don't want to say anything?
Oh, I mean, I agree.
That's not getting you access to a Derry dollar, Mr. Cecil wants some though.
No, I was gonna ask what do we ask after we already know that it's?
Well, there's a demand, there's a robust demand. And now that you've got a robust demand and you kind of understand the situation that demand is growing, the next stage of the process is to get to, what's the second stage, Mr. Cavender?
Product, a problem.
Problem question.
Problem. Now I want to introduce what we call the pain cycle. This is positive pain, that means pain increases, and this is negative pain, it means pain decreases. So when you start and you ask situation questions, how does the person feel about the questions you're asking? They feel modestly positive. Because you're asking them questions they know and questions about them and their business, so as long as you don't string it out for a long time, they feel pretty good. But the trick is to turn and head toward the pain cycle with problem questions. So what are you trying to uncover with a problem question, Ms. Chang? Yes. What's the purpose of a problem question?
To figure out what the problem is, to figure out like what.
Okay, so what kind of question might you ask? OtterBox. Hold on a second, she's got the floor.
So you already asked them questions like, why would you need this?
No. We just gotten to the point. There's robust demand for iPhones, they're selling them, they're increasing. So what question might you ask that would cause him to begin thinking about buying your product as a solution to a
Would you
problem?
then ask them questions about like why they, how they protect their phone then, or was that still part of the situation?
Remember, this is a catalog, and you're trying to get your OtterBox in the catalog. So customers are buying iPhones more and more. Give me a problem question. This is not easy. Okay, Ms. Estes.
I would say, do you ever have customers return their iPhones because they've been broken due to something?
So, nice, easy question. Demand's up. How often do customers bring back their iPhones because they've dropped them or they're broken?
I know that I drop my iPhone a lot, and I'm sure you do too.
I don't.
What?
Even though I got an otter
I'm
box.
not talking to you, I'm talking to the prospect.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're saying, I'm sure there are times when you drop your phone. You got my response. No, I don't drop my phone.
I'll put that in the bloopers.
What's that?
Put that in the bloopers.
Had to return it. I think multiple people have.
See, you have to act like a good attorney here. Talk to your dad about this. The attorneys only ask questions that they know the answer to. You don't ask one that's open-ended because you might get the wrong answer.
Do you know what will happen to your phone if you drop it?
It's not about him, it's about his customers.
Ask if his customers have any complaints with other products.
Complaints, yeah, you could, but what that does is that's kind of a sideways question. Point down, okay? And what I'm asking you to do is increase the pain. So ask him a question the answer to which he might be uncomfortable to give you the answer.
You can
Oh,
ask,
no, that's not it.
you can ask him if he feels like he's lost revenue due to, people bringing back damaged stuff.
Right. You might ask, how often do your customers bring back iPhones that they've dropped? Well, our sales are up, so this last month, 1,400 were, 140 were returned. What's a good response to that?
Well, we can drop that down.
No, you're going for the jugular. Subtle, subtle.
And so is that more work for you to replace the phones and deal with?
And be careful, don't flap your lip here. Get him to talk about it. So you say, really? Really? Yes. Wow, 140, is that more than last month? Yes, it is, because here's the secret, guys. When you came in, he wasn't thinking about the outer box. He had 10,000 other things. What you've got to do is get him into a situation where he realizes he has a need for your product. So how do you do it? By subtly asked questions.
What do you do if he goes, where are you going with this, buddy?
Your ID.
He doesn't want any more questions from you. What do you do? Where are you going with this?
You go right for the jugular. You have to be careful. But yes, the high D says, what, do you got some solution for my problem? Amen, brother. That's why I'm here.
Give him the pickle.
Give them the pickle when they want it. That's right. However, don't discount the fact that when you start this cycle, that if it's he or she doesn't realize that this is a big problem. So you might say, so 140 last month. How many did you have the previous month? 6. Really? What do you think the difference is? Well, our sales are up. Is it because your sales are up? Is there something going on with people that would cause them to bring their iPhones back? May I ask, how many times is the glass cracked? Because you're trying to build in this. You want to sell these. You're trying to build a need for these. So he says, well, yeah, a lot of times they're cracked. Now I'm asking problem questions. Pain cycle goes up. What's the problem with the pain cycle? How many pain cycle questions can you ask? Not very many.
2 or 3.
D, you only get a couple ones, and then you start to see the red come in the face. Gotta be careful, because they might say, I'm way too busy, this is a problem I'm not gonna focus on, get out of here. You have to be careful. So you say 140. With that increase in sales, what happens if you go from 140 to 280 next month? What kind of question is that? What?
Benefit question.
Leading.
Bring it.
What kind of question is that? The question where you say, if next month 280 phones came back, it doubled.
Shock.
What?
Implication.
Implication. Mr. Rowley? Implication question. An implication converts. An implication question converts an implicit need to an explicit need. It means, yes, I knew I had a problem, but I never thought about 280. And then you might say, well, what is the impact then on your bottom line if you don't fix this problem? Oh, that's a high D&a. Wham! And he says, it's horrible. Now at that point, when you are at the peak of the pain cycle, here's how the pain cycle works. Borrow your arm. What you start doing is you push. This is pain. This is a problem question. You keep pushing and keep pushing, and you push harder till it hurts. When it starts to hurt, then at the peak, you relieve the pain with the need-payoff question. So you might say, right when he is saying, yes, I've got a problem, you say, if I could show you a simple product that would eliminate those additional maintenance problems with your customers, would you take a look at it?
Would you say? Would you actually use eliminate or could help eliminate it? Because if you say eliminate, then he's assuming that all of them.
It would eliminate it. If you could have these on the shelf, you put them right at the checkout stand, and you have, every time someone talks about an iPhone, you say OtterBox. You eliminate the problem. Now, could you eliminate the problem? No, but if he did it every time, he could eliminate it. So maybe coulds. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
Maybe it's could. No, I would take away a qualifier. I would take the qualifiers away, and I would say it would eliminate it. This is the spin process. Now, this is not an easy process to initiate. You're going to have to think about this up front. You're going to have to think about the questions you're going to ask. And you're going to have to practice asking these subtle questions. Because if you do, it feels to the buyer like you're just having a conversation. And that's how it should feel. You should just feel this pressure build, and then you're going to take away the pain. Today, we've had a very important session. And we've discussed how to build in your customer's mind a burning need for your product or service. It's called SPIN, and you're going to hear it from this point forward.